Home Depot, where many people still believe, the stuff here is definitely better because it's more expensive. I used to think that way too. Home Depot has a very sophisticated strategy. They place the most expensive items at eye level, attach a professional-sounding brand name to them, and then let you convince yourself that buying this is the right choice. But the reality is, you are paying dozens, even hundreds of dollars more for a tool that you could buy cheaper elsewhere with the same quality. And if you think you're buying tools, no, you are just buying marketing. You are paying extra just for the color, the name, and the way they display the products right in front of you. Today, I will do something that might annoy many people. I will directly name the 10 worst tools to buy at Home Depot, and I will explain why real tradespeople often avoid them like the plague. Don't leave early because the number one item is something millions of Americans buy incorrectly every year. To be honest, this Crescent 128-piece set is one of those things that Home Depot sells just to see how easily you can be lured in. Hearing 128 pieces makes your eyes light up. Right, I understand. That number hits the psychology of men perfectly. The more, the better. The bigger, the more valuable. But hold on, you're buying tools, not a mixed bag of candies. The issue lies here. Out of those 128 items, more than half, even nearly 2/3, are trivial things like bits, hex keys, small screwdrivers, the kind of stuff you use twice and then toss aside. To put it bluntly, that's fluff, filler to make up the numbers. You are paying for the number 128, not for the actual tool. The funny thing is, when you open the box, it looks really impressive. But when it comes time to actually use it, you realize, why are some important items missing? And that's when you truly understand the frustration of buying a tool set only to have to run out and buy more tools. I have a friend who bought this set, and it still works, but it's the kind of okay, like eating a cheap hamburger. You survive after eating it, but you don't feel happy at all. If you want a neat set, less flashy but truly usable, Home Depot has the Husky set for about $79.97 with minimal fluff, all practical tools, and if you're more serious, go for a few sets like Capri. It'll be less frustrating. Have you ever been hit with a 128-item order like this? Comment and let me know I'm not alone. All right, get ready. The next dish is what will really make many Milwaukee fans fume. By the way, if you think I'm hitting the nail on the head, just subscribe to the channel so you won't waste money again. Okay, I'm getting a little grumpy at this point. You walk into Home Depot, see the Milwaukee ratcheting wrench right in your line of sight. It's red, sleek, professional-grade design, and then you mutter, Milwaukee. You bought it without a second thought. Incorrect. $129. For 7 wrenches, 7 of them, not 70 of them. 7 wrenches that cost as much as buying a whole cartload of Costco food. To be frank, this isn't a tool set. This is a beautifully packaged joke. But that's not all. The most painful thing is, it's also a skip set. This means there's a significant missing size. The kind of thing you're fixing a car, removing the screw up to the point where it needs to be the right size. You rummage through your bag, your box, your self-respect, nothing, and at that point, all you wanted was to throw the entire Milwaukee set against the wall. Honestly, the feeling of being perfectly fine at work and missing a size is like watching an action movie and then the Wi-Fi drops at the climax. Spicy? It's not mildly spicy. Home Depot sells this thanks to one thing, the Milwaukee logo. They know you'll look at that red color and automatically think it's worth the price, but being expensive isn't necessarily a wise decision. Sometimes, being expensive is just being led along by emotions. Want to be realistic? Gear Wrench only has SAE plus metric kits for around $40, and they still work normally. For an even better taste, Tecton Flex Head costs around $120, and the great thing is there's no shortage of sizes. Buy it, and you'll be thrilled. Honestly, have you ever bought Milwaukee just because it looks professional? Confess. I've been accused too. But that's not all. Get ready to go. This number 8 item is the real deal at Home Depot. You paid for it foolishly. At this point, I have to be blunt. Century Flux Core Welder at Home Depot is a trap. It looks very decent and professional, but it's actually a price trap. You look at the name Century, then hear people whisper, Century. It belongs to Lincoln. And suddenly a thought pops into your head. Oh, Lincoln. So it must be delicious. No, that's wrong. This machine costs $238, has a power output of 70 amps, and runs on 115 volts. To put it simply, it's like spending nearly $240 on a pickup truck. But opening the lid reveals a motorcycle engine attached. You can run, but don't even dream of pulling anything heavy. And I'm not saying it can't be welded. It can still be welded, but it's welded, just for the sake of it. Don't expect a nice, strong weld or to be able to do heavy work. FluxCore has its place. But if you buy this thinking you're buying professional craftsmen, sorry, Home Depot is laughing in your stomach. The funny thing is, out there, Harbor Freight sells the titanium 125 amp, a sale for around $170, and they do much more. You save almost $70, that $70 is enough to fill your gas tank, enough to buy BBQ for the whole family this weekend. But if you're really serious and want to play to the fullest, then save up a little extra money to buy a Lincoln MIG 140 amp. MIG is the kind of thing that gets you done with just the touch, as easy as shooting hot glue. Have you ever been lured by the word Lincoln owned? Did you ever buy a tool because you heard the name was fancy? Comment told me about it. To ease my frustration, now it will be dish number 7. This is probably something many people buy just because it's right in front of them. And it's also a very sweet scam. Oh, and if you like that kind of straightforward, revealing style, subscribe to the channel, so next time you step into Home Depot, you won't be led around like a sheep anymore. A friend of mine exclaimed, anyone who buys the $119 brushed version at Home Depot, while the brushless version is only $129, is really making a fool of themselves. Milwaukee isn't bad. Milwaukee is delicious. But the problem is, you're choosing the wrong version. Like buying an iPhone and deliberately choosing the slower version just to save a few pennies. Do you understand? The difference between these two is only $10. $10? A burger combo with added potatoes and water. One time I tried to refuel, but it didn't come. A large Starbucks meal is a disaster. And yet many people still bring home the brushed version. Like, it's Milwaukee, after all. Yeah, Milwaukee too, but it's like buying a pickup truck and deliberately choosing a weaker engine because it's $10 cheaper. Sounds stupid. Right. Brushless gives you longer battery life, a stronger machine, cooler running, prevents it from drowning during heavy work, and doesn't overheat quickly. What about brushed? It's not bad, but it's old-fashioned technology. It's like buying a plasma TV in 2020. It's still watchable. But why? Home Depot sells brushed versions because they know there's a type of customer who walks in, looks at the price, and immediately flips away. Inconsiderate. No comparison. And so, Home Depot won. The spiciest thing is that later you'll be like, why is the battery draining so fast? Why is the computer so weak? Then you have to buy the brushless. That means buying it twice. And buying twice is no longer called saving money, but rather the cost of life. What about you? Have you ever bought a tool that was just a little cheaper and then regretted it? But the list doesn't end here. This 6th item is what Home Depot sells as a genuine product, but in reality, many buyers just want to swear. Have you ever been in this situation before? You're working on that little project this weekend, cutting the plastic pipe, grinding the metal piece, fixing the chipped corner of the door. You think it's simple? You need a Dremel to keep it compact. So you walk into Home Depot, find the Dremel 4200 lying there. The box looks fancy. The brand is so famous, and you say, Dremel? No wonder. Then you bring it home, and just when you're at your most enthusiastic, it starts playing tricks. The machine ran for a few minutes, then froze. The buttons were intermittent, and while changing the grinding head, the collet jammed. And even when I tried to dislocate my arm, it wouldn't come out. It feels like you buy a lighter, and every time you want to light it, it asks you, "Are you sure?" Honestly, this Dremel 4200 is a timeless legend. Hearing the name, it sounds like a weapon. But after using it, you realize it's the kind of tool that makes you mutter and swear in the garage while you're working. And what made me the craziest? It's because you spent money on it not to work, but to self-harm. The funny thing is, Home Depot still sells it as a good deal, while the newer Dremel 4300 has fixed almost all those silly bugs, and the price is not much different. That means if you choose 4,200, you're not saving. You're just choosing a more complicated version of yourself. Have you ever bought a tool and already felt an omen the moment you opened the box? Okay, now let's move on to dish number 5. And this is what's scary. Many people buy it because it's cheap, but it's all about life safety. Let me be blunt. Don't be foolish enough to skimp on buying a floor jack. A car jack isn't a hammer or a screwdriver. It's something that stands between you and a piece of metal weighing several thousand pounds hanging over your head. But Home Depot has a very clever trick up their sleeve. They put out a husky 2.5-ton low-profile jack. It looks okay. The brand name sounds familiar. And the price is $57. $57. After hearing that, your brain automatically switches to the mode. Is it really that cheap? Buy now? And yes, that's when you start walking down a dangerously foolish path. The problem is, this jack isn't cheap because Home Depot loves you. It was cheap because they cut out everything important. A narrow body, tiny lifting points, no decent pad, and at first glance, it looked makeshift to be functional. Lifting a Honda Civic might be fine, but if you're going to lift an SUV or a truck, I'm telling you, it's like bringing out a plastic seat to stand while changing a ceiling light bulb. You can stand there, but you're shaking like a dog. Do you want to save money? Okay, but this kind of saving is a kind of backbone gamble. One slip-up, and you don't lose $57. You lose your entire month's salary because of hospital bills. If you want to play safely while still keeping your money up, go to Harbor Freight and earn a Pittsburgh 3-ton for about $105 with coupons. It's almost twice as expensive, but in return, you get what's called stability. And believe me, the feeling of lying under a car without fear of fate falling on it is worth far more. Now I want to ask you, have you ever bought something suspiciously cheap and then regretted it? Please share your lesson with everyone. And the next item, the Home Depot-style one, sells for a high price, when in reality it's just electrical wire. And trust me, the power doesn't care about the logo. Oh, and if you like this kind of bluntness, just subscribe to a light channel to avoid making yourself the main character of an unlucky story. Have you ever seen an item that looks good, is reasonably priced, and then suddenly pops into your head? Yeah, it's only $59.47. Buy it at random, and you'll find it if you need it. That? Exactly. And that's also why Porter Cable 20-volt oscillating tool is still selling well at Home Depot. It's not a tool so bad that you throw it away. It cuts, it vibrates, it works. But the problem is, you don't buy a tool. You are buying a ticket to what is called the battery ecosystem. And what about Porter Cable battery systems now? To put it mildly, he's dying. To put it bluntly, it's gradually disappearing. You bought this today because it was cheap, but a few months later you'll start to see the funny scene. Low battery, faulty battery. And if you want to buy more batteries, it's out of stock. If you want to buy other tools from the same system, there are few options. It feels like you bought an old phone because it was cheap, and then you find out nobody sells chargers anymore. You thought you'd save $20, but the reality is you're signing a contract that will only torment you in the future. The spiciest thing is that Home Depot presented it as a delicious deal. While the Ryobi 18-volt is only about $79, and the Ryobi system is completely different. It has plenty of tools, readily available batteries, and plenty of replacements. Buying a Ryobi is like buying a Toyota. It's not sexy, but it's long-lasting, easy to repair, and easy to find parts for. Porter Cable is like buying a rare car, and the parts have to be ordered from another planet. Have you ever bought a tool just because you saw a good deal, only to end up stuck because you couldn't find a battery. Comment, be honest, I'm listening to it to ease my frustration. Then, let's move on to dish number 3. And this is exactly the kind of thing that sounds fancy, but you only know when you touch it. DeWalt can be that kind of country bumpkin sometimes. Okay, at DeWalt, someone jumps up immediately. I know. DeWalt is the religion of many American uncles. Just hearing the word DeWalt automatically makes you think. As durable as a tank. Buying is a no-brainer. But sorry, not all DeWalt tanks are tanks. There are some mid-level drills at Home Depot that look like pickup trucks with a rugged look. But when you open the hood, the engine is as weak as a grass car. The most noteworthy thing is the chuck. It felt loose to the touch, like tightening a drill bit, almost like twisting the cap of a mineral water bottle. I'm not exaggerating. I once tested it, and I even joked, I'd probably break this with my hand. And guess what? 2 weeks later, he watched a channel that sent me pictures. His chuck was broken. It wasn't falling from the roof. It wasn't being run over by a car. But I was doing normal work, squeezing a little too hard, and it was cracked. Then he stood there and watched the drill as if he were watching a broken marriage. That's Home Depot's trap. They sell DeWalt mid-levels by relying on the name. You're not buying tools. You're buying the feeling that you're buying pros. But the reality is, you buy a mediocre item at a price that's not mediocre at all. If you've played DeWalt, then play it correctly. DeWalt XR brushless tool only, around $139, that's what's worth the money. It's like you're adding a little extra to get to the full option, so you don't have to drill and pray at the same time. Have you ever bought a tool because you trusted the brand, only to find it wasn't as advertised when you got home? Comment. Let me know if DeWalt has hurt anyone else's feelings. Now for dish number 2, and here's what I'll say first. If you buy the cordless version, you'll see the battery fly as fast as your paycheck after your wife goes to Target. You know, there are tools that are made to work, and there are tools that are made to wear down. And this rigid, cordless, random orbit sander belongs to the second group. Imagine this scene. You're sanding a wooden table, or a door, or fixing a deck in the yard. You've only been doing it for about 5 minutes. You're getting excited. You're drifting along with the sound of the machine. Then it pops. The machine gets weaker. Then it shuts off. You stand there looking at the battery like a friend who promised to help clean the house, but only managed to lift the chair he'd asked to rest on. That's what it feels like to use a cordless sander. It's not because rigid is so bad, but because the nature of sanding work is that it's a continuous, steady, non-stop running and spinning process. If you encounter jobs like this, it's like throwing a child into a buffet. They'll eat it until it spoils. Then so be it. Reviewer was absolutely right about one thing I really like. Cordless sanders are where batteries go to fail. It sounds a bit harsh, but it's accurate. Do you have 2 batteries? Not enough. 4 lumps. That's not enough either. Only when you have to sit and wait for the battery to charge do you understand what DIY's most humiliating feeling is. The tool has already asked to quit before the job is finished. And the funny thing is, Home Depot still sells these in a convenient wireless style. What's convenient about it? Is it convenient for Home Depot to sell extra batteries? If you want a good, long-lasting, and satisfying sanding experience, use a corded sander around $64 and you're done. Plug it in. Run it straight. No drama. No battery drain like a slow mood. Corded is like a grumpy old uncle. Not flashy, but he works to the very end. Cordless is only suitable for small detail sanders that run for a few minutes. What about random orbit and cordless? Okay, don't self-harm. Have you ever bought a cordless tool whose battery was so low you wanted to throw it in the trash? Comment and tell me about it for fun. Then, let's move on to the top item on this list. And this is the national scam at Home Depot. Buy the wrong thing and your wood project is gone. If you're finding these things so true, just click on the subscribe to a channel button to avoid buying stupidly again. The number 1 name has been revealed. And let me state this up front. If you buy the wrong thing, you're not just losing money, you're losing the project as well. Table saw is nothing like those small tools. It's not the kind of buy you go-to thing. This is what you buy to cut wood, build shelves, make cabinets, make tables. To put it bluntly, this is the heart of the garage, and if your heart beats out of sync, it's all over. The rigid table saw at Home Depot, I'm not saying it's broken, it runs, it cuts. Motor is fine too, but what bothers me is the fence. What if fence isn't up to standard? So you measure 24 inches, but cut it out to 23.9. Sounds quiet. Right, but when you put the 4 plates together, the misalignment is noticeable, like your front teeth are sinking, and the most painful thing is standing there, looking at the piece of wood you just cut, wondering, why did I cut it wrong? Then you measure again, then you cut again, then you start to doubt yourself, doubt the ruler, doubt your whole life. While the truth is simple, fence is unreliable. Buying a table saw without a sure fence is like buying a car with a skid. It's still running, but you never know when it might drive you crazy. And here's the Home Depot trap. They sell rigid as a good option in its price range, but if you bother to run past Lowe's, you'll find the Delta Contractor Saw 10-inch 15 ampere with a T-square style fence. That's what's truly about cutting wherever you put it. Many people call it bee's knees, not because of the advertising, but because it works like a serious tool. Do you want to make nice wooden furniture, or do you want to make temporary, fleeting furniture? Because table saw will determine your level. Have you ever cut a piece of wood and had to cut it a second time? Comment, give it a try, so I know I'm not the only one suffering from that pain. So, there you have it. 10 tools that I'll be blunt about. Buying them at Home Depot is easy to throw money away if you don't know what you're doing. Home Depot isn't bad. The tools aren't exactly trash either. It's just that some of the items they sell are too sweet for you to fool yourself. Now it's your turn. Have you ever bought a tool that made you feel so stupid when you got home? Please leave a comment below if you prefer a straightforward, unpretentious way of speaking, saying exactly what people are afraid to say. Then click subscribe and ring the ringer. This isn't to support me, but to avoid losing that stupid money again next time. And, to be clear, this is my personal opinion based on my actual experience and observations. Every tool has matching users and mismatched users. Prices also vary depending on the time of year, sale, and region. Don't listen to me 100%. Compare yourself and buy according to your needs. Okay, see you in the next video. And remember, don't let the logo decide your wallet.